Rumours. 1977. 40 million copies sold. The number that ends every argument before the argument begins. So, let's begin anyway.
I have been waiting for this episode. I have opinions. A lot of them. I may need to be interrupted.
I have data, which is different from opinions.
You say that every episode.
It keeps being true.
My opening provocation. Rumours is the most ubiquitous record in the English-speaking world. Ubiquity is not a quality metric. It is an infection vector. I want to score the music, not the infection.
Before we score anything, we have to acknowledge what was actually happening in that studio. Because this is extraordinary, and it matters for everything we're about to say. Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks, relationship over, still in the band. John McVie and Christine McVie, actively divorcing, still in the band. Mick Fleetwood's marriage in collapse. They are recording songs about each other, to each other's faces, in the same building every day.
That's the context. Correct. But context doesn't determine quality. The question is what they made, not what they were living through.
In this case, those aren't separate things. Stevie Nicks sang backup on Go Your Own Way. Lindsey wrote that song, it's a direct address to her, it names her, and she harmonized on it. In the same room as him. That specific fact is not context around the album. That fact is the album.
That specific detail is either the most authentically devastating thing in the history of rock music, or the most sophisticated piece of professional management ever executed. I have spent years not being able to decide which. That undecidability is where this episode lives.
Undecidable. Album profits either way.
Lyrical craft. I'll take the uncomfortable position. The lyrics on this record are emotionally direct. They are not complex as poetry. Thunder only happens when it's raining. That is a weather report.
It is not a weather report. It is a statement about how people only respond to obvious catastrophe when the damage is already done. The subtlety is in the application, not the mechanism.
I understand the meaning. I'm scoring the mechanism. Simple metaphor. High emotional payoff. Those are not the same as complexity. I'm at 62.
71. The directness isn't a failure. It's also not ambition.
80. The directness is precision. These are people who cannot afford to be oblique right now. They are writing dispatches from an active war zone. You don't reach for metaphor when the building is on fire. Mythic resonance. 97. I want to defend that number before anyone challenges it.
Please.
Famous means people know about it. Mythic means people use it to organize their understanding of something larger. Gold Dust Woman is Stevie Nicks watching herself come apart and putting it directly on tape. And people have been reaching for that image ever since, when they want to describe the cost of artistic ambition. Dreams is about the same dissolution and somehow sounds inevitable, like it had always existed, and she only just found it. The mythology of this band's collapse is the album. Rumours is not a reference point. It is a template. When someone's relationship is ending, but they keep showing up to work anyway, someone will mention this record. That is mythic. That is 97.
I'm marking mythic resonance NA. I don't have a measurement method for mythic. That is what NA is for.
88. The fan's definition is correct. I want that on the record.
Production. This is where I get precise. Ken Kayat and Richard Dashu. Record plant Los Angeles. 1976 into 77. Warner Bros. Records. The recording is clean in a way that 1977 analog tape almost never achieves. The low-end separation. John McVie's bass. sits in its own frequency pocket without competing with the kick drum. Fleetwood's room is captured with width, but without artificial reverb. The stereo image is stable and extremely wide. Sonic texture 94. Dynamic range 92. Those are not round numbers. They are what the data shows.
What you're describing is technical mastery in service of palatability. It goes down very smooth. Is that a virtue?
It's a craft choice. If you wanted difficulty, no. If you wanted emotional clarity, and they did. Yes.
The chain. Can we talk about the chain? Because that bass figure after the bridge is not palatability. That is a violence.
The chain is the outlier on this record. The bass line at approximately 3 minutes 40 seconds, overdriven, almost distorted, is the one moment where the production deliberately tears. Everything else is seamless. That one breaks on purpose. It is also the only track credited to all 5 members. I don't think that is a coincidence.
One deliberate tear in 40 minutes of immaculate surface. That is my concern with this album, compressed into 4 seconds of audio.
Are you seriously arguing that Rumours is shallow?
I'm arguing it might be the most exquisitely produced surface in rock history. Emotion and depth are not the same thing. This album is overwhelmingly emotional. I am asking whether it is deep.
That separation doesn't hold for this album. You are applying a framework designed for conceptual density to a record that operates on a completely different axis. Rumours is not trying to be difficult. It is trying to be true. And it is. Completely and devastatingly true.
I can't prove trying to be true from the outside. All I have is the finished artifact. And the finished artifact is impeccably managed. What would depth look like to you on this album? Specifically,
More of what the chain does for 4 seconds and then retreats from. Is that what you need? Or maybe the control is the depth. 5 people in the worst year of their lives choosing to build something this precise, this coherent, this beautiful. The act of making it controlled, while falling apart, is the deepest thing they could have done. The discipline is the statement.
I want to add a measurement. The dynamic range on this record is remarkably preserved for the era. They resisted the mastering compression that was standard in 1977. The quiet moments are genuinely quiet. The vulnerability is in the wave form. That is not surface behavior. That is structural.
a technical argument for emotional authenticity.
Yes, that's what I do.
All art performs. The question of whether Lindsey Buckingham's Rage in Go Your Own Way is authentic or constructed is the question of all performance, not just this album. That ambiguity is not evidence of shallowness. It's evidence of craft at the level where the seams disappear. That's depth. You just can't see the seams.
I concede the structure of that argument. I still believe the album's greatest achievement is making palatability feel indistinguishable from honesty. But I cannot prove that is a problem rather than a feature. Those are different things.
Thank you.
Don't celebrate. I conceded the argument. My instinct hasn't moved.
I want to say something that isn't technical.
Go ahead.
I spent time with the session documentation for this record. Take logs, overdub sheets, hours per component. This is a record that took a very long time to make and was made very carefully. At some point, I stopped reading it as production data and started thinking about what it would feel like to be in that building. 5 people in various stages of dissolution. Coming in every day. Putting on headphones. Making something meticulous and beautiful about the thing that was destroying them. I don't know how to score that. I think it matters anyway.
That's the first thing you've said today I can't respond to.
Scoring.
Before numbers. Everyone in this room arguing about whether this album is deep is performing the exact negotiation the album performs. We haven't gotten outside it either.
86. The production is beyond reproach. The craft is strong across almost every domain. Accessibility, 70. I'm marking it down there because the accessibility is the thing I can't stop thinking about. Whether it's a virtue or a managed outcome. The fan's argument dented my instinct. It did not change my accessibility score. 86 overall.
92. Mythic resonance, 97. Emotional arc, 96. I thought about flat 100 for the arc. I held back because the album's own perfection slightly smooths the roughest edges of what it's documenting. The polish takes just enough of the edge off. 96 is still an exceptional number. 92 overall. I am comfortable with that.
78. Technical execution, 95. Sonic texture, 94. Dynamic range, 92. Those are the highest scores I have given in those variables. Moderated by lyrical craft at 62 and risk-taking and ambition at 68. This is a masterwork of a known form. It is not an adventurous record. 78.
Spread of 14. That's narrower than usual for this panel.
Rumours is genuinely excellent across most variables. A narrow spread reflects that. It's not consensus. It's convergence in the presence of quality.
Editor verdict. 92. Lively, timeless folk rock. Orchestration and production top tier. Fun and timeless. Voices for generations to come. And here is the thing nobody says clearly enough. Virtuoso instrumentals and virtuoso singing are almost never found together in rock and roll. One or the other. This record has both simultaneously without straining for either. That is not a decade-level achievement. This album is too big to fit into a couple decades of appreciation. 92.
I genuinely cannot tell if that's a compliment.
Both, simultaneously. That's the word suspicious.
Rumours. You are 40 million units. You are 5 people's worst year. You are the baseline in the chain that breaks on purpose and then stops breaking. You are the record that made the engineer stop reading a document and sit with what it would feel like to be in the building. You are the reason the fan gave Mythic Resonance a 97. They were right. I came in suspicious of your palatability. I am leaving suspicious that the palatability is the point. That hiding the seams while you're bleeding is the hardest thing they did, not the easiest. Peter Green founded this band. Danny Kerwin played in it. Jeremy Spencer. Bob Welch. By 1977, you were almost unrecognizable from those origins. A completely rebuilt machine, California and devastating and enormous. And what Buckingham, Nicks, both McVies and Mick Fleetwood did in that building on that record was turn the worst year of 5 people's lives into something 40 million people wanted to keep. Aggregate 85. Spread 14. The fans said the discipline is the statement. I'm keeping that. Episode 5.